Burning Man 2023 now being dubbed Raining Man after storms turned the festival into a muddy mess. The weather, wrecked roads, stranding burners in the desert for days. The road, though, is now open and the exodus is on. Remember, we heard from the Washoe County Sheriff just yesterday saying, yes, the road is open and there were thousands of people, attendees of Burning Man, leaving as well. So joining us to talk more about his experience at Burning Man is Griffin Kirsch, and he joins me now from, I believe, Reno, Nevada. Griffin, thanks for being with us. I know you've talked to some other journalists about your experience. You recounted your experience as well. If you could, though, let us know, when did you leave the playa? That's what it's known as. When did you get out?
Yeah, the storm started Friday, and Saturday morning when we woke up, it was evident that it was going to be a disaster to prolong the experience. And so we ended up walking by foot off the playa around like 2 p.m. Saturday.
Okay, for some of our viewers who have never been to Burning Man, why is it called the playa? And you're from the area, and correct me if I'm wrong, have you been to Burning Man before this today?
Yep, I've been a couple times in the past, and yeah, this experience was a new one, I think, for most people. And yeah, as you're seeing the lady wipe off her shoes, it was exactly like that. It was like cement mud, whether you tried to ride your bike, walk on your feet, or drive your car, or side by side or art car. Everything just basically got caked with cement style mud. So it was a disaster for a little bit there. And yeah, the playa, I'm not sure where they get the name, but it's basically about 2.5 hours from Reno, Nevada, right by a city called Gerlach in the middle of Nevada, really nowhere. And it's just a big, flat landscape with really fine style dust. And it's typically known for its wind and dust, but this time it's known for the wet, saturated playa dust that became mud.
Yeah, I mean, Griffin, we're looking at the what's being termed the exodus here, but this was kind of the Washoe County authorized exodus. And this was happening yesterday, where a lot of these RVs, a lot of these cars and trucks were allowed to leave. Now, from what I understand, you weren't in that. How long did it take you to get out? You kind of left before all this, right?
That's exactly right. And as you could see, that's why I left. That process normally takes 12 hours when there is no issues. And I think this time, it's extending over multiple days. The traffic can be 18 hours long. And I just decided early on that I didn't want to be part of that. So I walked out about 3 miles in the mud, which was relatively simple, but just took a little longer than normal, and went to the freeway and had a friend pick us up. We had some friends that were flying back to East Coast and didn't want to reschedule that. So we kind of had no choice, but we also didn't want to be part of the chaotic exodus. And so we just chose to leave early, and I actually still have to go back to go get my truck and trailer. So
when you say you walked to the freeway and a friend picked you up, we were hearing stories, kind of horror stories, that people were walking for hours, for miles, to just get out of the site itself. Did you walk a long way?
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit more privileged than I think most, because I live in Reno, so I had a 2-hour drive for a friend to come get us. But I would say the majority of people at Burning Man are not from the area, and in fact from all parts of the world. So the logistics for me was much simpler than others. But yeah, we walked 3 miles in ankle deep mud for half of it, and pretty thick mud for the other half, and then walked a couple miles on the freeway to meet our family member who picked us up. And there was some roadblocks by rangers, so we kind of just walked past the original roadblock to make it simple for the car that was coming to get us. And yeah, it was probably more chaotic the longer you stayed. Okay. And we just didn't have the patience to stay that long.
Yeah, I mean, to me, just kind of watching this story from afar, I've never been to Burning Man, but seeing kind of everyone is in this together. No matter if you're Griffin Kirsch or you're Diplo or you're Chris Rock, we saw some of those viral moments on social media. They were getting out as well. You have any stories like that?
Yeah, I wish I would have seen Diplo and Chris Rock walking out, because we must have been hours apart. But it could have been a lot more dramatic than it was for me. I think there's probably some people out there that have some pretty fun stories and stories they'll tell for a long time. But fortunately, I just didn't have a chaotic exit other than the fact that we had to walk out in this wildly thick mud and organize some logistics. We had Starlink at our camp, so I had Wi-Fi and I could communicate with the outside world. But the majority of the people there have no access to Wi-Fi, have no access to news outlets, did not know how long this prolonged weather event was going to take, and probably for a few days there, we're guessing how long it would take to get out. But I think the exodus has been relatively smooth given the nature of what this weather pattern brought to the playa. So.
Griffin, I'm kind of curious as well, because we were also hearing, stories that the rain brought people together, but also that there was kind of this like Lord of the Flies mentality in terms of, conserving and rationing food, shelter, Wi-Fi, all of that. For you seem like a Burning Man veteran, but if you're a Burning Man novice and you're going there for the first time, that must have been quite an experience.
Very much, yes. I would say that was quite the experience for the first timers and the people that go out there with a backpack on their back and on a bus that drops them off, and those people are the ones that probably have some pretty fun stories to listen to. But yeah, that's the experience. It's kind of, it's Burning Man, and the theme, at our camp was Survivor Man, and it was very fitting for this situation. The show Survivor is the theme camp that we kind of ran. And yeah, there was a moment when we were thinking about, okay, well, is our gray tank got enough to continue to use this, the sink? We had a couple of RVs that were getting filled up with, using the sink and toilets, and how much water do we have and how much food do we have? Our camp was relatively well prepared, and I think there's other camps that weren't. And yeah, this kind of community came together to make it doable for people.
I mean, like I said, you're from the area, and obviously torrential rain and mud is somewhat unusual, especially for this part of the desert there in northern Nevada. I mean, are you going to go back? Are you undeterred from all of this? I mean, why do you think this got so much attention?
Yeah, well, I would say some of the most important people in the world are at this event. It's no surprise to see, people like Elon Musk and Diplo and Chris Rock and Taylor Swift. I mean, all these celebrities and important people from around the world go to this event, and so it's become this global event. I've been 3 times before. This was my 4th, and at a moment there, I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to come back. But in hindsight, it was for me about 36 hours of some unplanned interruption. But the days before that, where the festival was going strong, was amazing, as it always is. The artwork is incredible. The amount of time and energy spent on this project, and community of people to come together, 75,000 people for 7 days. I mean, it's pretty mind-boggling to see. So I'll probably be a repeat attender, but I will very much pay attention to the weather.
Yeah, because those people who are just getting out today, I mean, they have been through a slog, no pun intended there. Did it devolve? I mean, is there one person, one group in charge when this was all going down, or was it kind of like a free-for-all? I mean, who could you go to for answers?
No, it was very much the latter. It was a free-for-all, because no one really there was no communication, that exists on the playa, and on top of that, people didn't have Wi-Fi, so it was kind of word of mouth. And as the word of mouth spread, it was, we're sheltering in place. We're all kind of stuck here for a little while. And it was kind of chaotic. It really was for a second. And then as time, went by, and I think it brought some Wi-Fi satellite towers out there for people to connect, and people kind of to be more within reach of the outside world. It started to be a little bit more digestible for people, and started to be a little bit less, less anxious. And so we had that moment, that oh no moment for sure. But
all right, well, Griffin Kirsch, we do appreciate your time and your recounting of your experience there at Burning Man. And like you said, you are undeterred, and we'll talk again. Thanks so much.
Thank you.